Okay, family is complicated.
I never want to see you, ever. Next time you want to find me, Blitzo, don't.
Especially when you're this guy. Just like his relationships, Blitz is a mess. Dude is living the introvert's dilemma, being terrified of being alone, yet refusing to text back. So it really should be no surprise that his relationship with his sister would be no different. Except things are way worse than we thought, as Mr. Burns Bridges here is actually desperate to reconnect with Barbie Wire, but she was ready to drop off the face of the earth to avoid him. Then when they finally did meet, she told him to fuck off. Now some people think that Barb was being just a bit too harsh here.
Just because I'm out of rehab doesn't mean I want to see you. I never want to see you.
Which is fair. However, don't let the puppy dog pity me eyes fool you. Blitz has done some shit. And based on the evidence, she may have some very good reasons to not want Blitz in her life. So for today, we're doing a deep dive into Blitz and Barbie Wire's relationship. As family is complicated, we know this, but when Barb told Blitz that he ruined her life, he didn't deny it.
She's got a job now, a life. Don't fuck it up by finding her.
So unlike in real life, in fiction, bad things don't happen without a reason, even if that reason is comedy. Now for Blitz, the big reason that he has for everything that he does is that he is afraid of dying alone. The man is riddled with intimacy issues. Everyone that he grew up with all hate him. So we understand why he's so cagey about letting other people into his life. With the few that he does let in, like the M&Ms, he still ends up only keeping at arm's length, on top of constantly pushing them away by being an asshole, constantly stress testing the limits of their relationship, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy that ends up pushing everyone away. This is the basic explanation for the contradictory and low-key abusive behavior of Blitz. The man could solve all of his problems by putting himself out there and telling people that he loves them. But besides his daughter, that would mean he would have to be sincere, which would leave him vulnerable in a way where if anything goes wrong, it would rock him to his core and make him even less inclined to reach out to people in the future. So instead of taking that risk, he acts like a jaded, sarcastic asshole, as while he's not happy, it gives him some level of control over the situation. And when things inevitably go wrong, he'll at least be able to know exactly what caused it, himself. Blitz typically never puts himself out there, which is what makes his interaction with Barbie Wire just so interesting, as he does.
Barb, wait. I want to help you. Let me help you, please.
Now, the shipper in me really wants to say that Blitz, seeing Stolas get maimed, awoke something in him. The realization that the seemingly invincible and constant figures in his life aren't nearly as tough as they appear, opening up the fear in Blitz's mind that life is short and you never know what's going to happen next. With Blitz's collective guilt making him try and reconcile with the other people in his life while he still can, minus the main one. Now, that sounds amazing, and it would be a continuation from what we saw in the previous episode, but I kinda don't buy it. Yeah, I want to bring everything back to Blitz's love life too, however, looking at this episode just on its own, it really isn't doing enough to justify that conclusion. It is a great headcanon, but to take the words right out of the fish's mouth,
How many times do I have to sodomize you with the taser before you take a hint?
So yeah, Blitz breaking into Barb's rehab center is not a new thing. Maybe this is the first time he's tried in a couple months. Maybe it was spurred on by Stolas getting RI almost, but there's not enough here to really say one way or the other if this was the inciting incident. What this episode does tell us though, is that Blitz has been trying to see Barbie Wire for a long time. And while he might not care about a lot of the other people in his past, Barb is the one person he is trying to reach out to. Even in situations where we know that the inciting breakup incident was his fault, like with Veronica, where he did many unkind things.
Steal their car and run 3 rings to rap and max my credit cards on shitty horse riding lessons.
God damn it, whore, you will not let that go.
Even here, where Blitz is clearly in the wrong, he defaults to his usual strategy of just shrugging off the whole situation, even though internally he is keenly aware and blaming himself of how badly things ended. But Barb is a different story. Now this is probably a combination of a couple different things. The first thing that makes Barb different from the rest of his former friend group is that Barbie Wire isn't rich. Fizz has got money, Veronica has definitely got money, but Barbie Wire doesn't. While everyone else is relatively well off, Blitz is painfully aware that Barb is starting off from scratch. making him worried and want to try and help her out, especially since he's now tenuously successful as a business owner, which also ties into their history as, in the past, Blitz and Barbie Wire are both former circus performers who are heavily implied to have made the jump to more lucrative roles in the entertainment industry, with Barb evidently having acquired enough fame to be labeled a washed-up celebrity by Veronica. Maybe the twins worked together or separately were coasting off of Viz's rep. But either way, these two did not last long in the industry. Blitz for reasons that are still unexplained, but most likely dealing with the fact that he wants to be a comedian, but he has a very niche sense of humor.
That bitch hit her head on the way down and shattered her skull!
But in Barbie's case, we know exactly why she had to leave that life. Addiction. Barbie was an addict to something called H-Aid. We don't know what it is, but considering Blitz's reaction is relief to find out that she might only be on heroin, you know it's bad. So between the shaky financial situation, her being a former addict, you can kinda understand why he would lose his shit when he found out that her new job involved drugs, as that just feels like it's asking for trouble. Blitz has legitimate reasons to be worried about her. The only problem, Barbie wants nothing to do with him.
Next time you want to find me, Blitzo, don't!
Now here's the thing. Everyone seems to agree that Blitz screwed up Barbie's life. The orderly says it, Barb says it, and Blitz doesn't deny it. We don't know what he did. Maybe he was the one that got her into drugs. Maybe feeling jealous of Fizz's success, Blitz pressured Barbie to go solo with him. Or maybe, just maybe, what Moxie and Millie went through in this episode, where the girl got popular and famous while the boy got butthurt and lashed out, is actually a reflection of what happened between Blitz and Barbie Wire. But instead of reconciling, Blitz doubled down on being petty and did something stupid that Barbie still hasn't recovered from. This would go a long way to justify this whole B-plot's existence. Like I said this offhandedly in my review, but Blitz could easily have been swapped in for Moxie here, and you could have had this episode play out exactly the same. Blitz would be the type of person that would be petty and get mad when the crowd isn't cheering for him. Blitz has wanted to be an entertainer his entire life, but if he wasn't on stage bombing, he's getting upstaged by Fizz. The crowds liked Fizz more than Blitz. His dad thought Fizz was more valuable than him. All of this is enough to give any man a complex, especially if he spent most of his life working as a team with Barbie Wire, only to see her career suddenly start to take off like Fizz's did, leaving the man in the background again, and that would make him liable to do something stupid. Something that a lot of people tend to forget is that we are dealing with a semi-reformed Blitz. He has somewhat gotten his life back together. He's not the same party animal, nor is he as reckless as he used to be. But in the past, who knows? But it's with all that context that you understand why Barbie Wire just may not want to see him again. And yes, I am giving this woman the benefit of the doubt. And this surely will never blow up in my face when it turns out she's just purely evil. But Blitz, for all his genuine concern for Barbie Wire, I think she is well within reason to tell him to back off. As from everything that we've seen, the fact that she never saw him in rehab implies that either visitors weren't allowed, or more likely that Barb just doesn't want to see him, implying just how burnt out she was from having to deal with him, and that she is just done with all of it. When she got out of rehab, she didn't tell her brother. She was trying to cut him out of her life and put her past behind her. Barb right now is working a boringish day job where she manipulates teenagers to sell drugs in hell. She's not trying to hold on to her glory days or attract any unwanted attention. Barbie Wire tattooed an X over her and Blitz's shared birthmark. She's doing everything that she can to distance herself from the past and from Blitz, which is a bit of a recurring theme. Barbie Wire wanted to start fresh, only for Blitz to reinsert himself back into her life. He tracked her down, threatened her coworkers, and unintentionally ruined her drug scam. And while he wasn't trying to actually fight her, he was really more than anything trying to make sure that she didn't fucking kill Moxie. But he still got in her way, and she's the one who paid the price for it. And after all of that, he then tries to reach out to her to say, oh, let's catch dinner, trying to act like everything is normal or everything is repairable. And she just shuts all of that down. She laughs in his face and cruelly tells him that she never wants to see him again, which harsh, but you get it. And this thing that I'm kind of hung up on, for all of Blitz's genuine desire to help his sister, I do feel like a lot of this is more about him than it is her. He wants to reconnect with her, yes, 100%. But Blitz, more than anything else, is terrified of dying alone. Blitz is always looking for that one person who can be his anchor, that will be there to reassure him that he won't be alone. He's trying it with Luna, and he's trying it again with Barb. And that just leads him to be desperate, and causes him to ignore all the warning signs that she doesn't want to see him. Duke could have just left a note with her boss, and let her make the choice to reach out to him when she's ready. But Blitz decided not, and did everything in his power to find her, accidentally making everything worse for everybody. Blitz desperately wants to reconcile, but his sister doesn't, and that just leads him to show up at her job and demand answers. And given how everything went wrong, you can see why Barb has no chill or patience for Blitz. As all he may want closure, she's just trying to move on from him and start fresh. It's not pretty, it's not nice, but it is very real. As sometimes, even if you desperately want to fix something, even if you know you've made a mistake and you just want the best for someone, really, you just have to let them go. There are times where you just have to cut someone out of your life. And even if Blitz has changed, it doesn't make Barbie Wire's feelings any less valid, nor does it mean she owes him anything. These two were probably terrible to each other. But I think right now what Blitz really needs to do is to try and maintain the relationships that he already has, before it's too late for those two. And that is how I brought this video back to Stolitz. Alright, that's all I wrote. Like, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you all thought of Barbie Wire. I personally loved her. She seems very fun, very mean, but also you can see just a lot of Blitzo in her. So I'm very curious to see what she'll do when she appears again, but let me know what you all thought. Love you all, peace out.